The tale of Vesemir, the last of the old wolf. Welcome back, wanderers. Sit by the fire and listen well. Tonight, we remember not a king, not a mage, but a witcher, the oldest of them all. Before we dive into this witcher legend, let me ask you, if you could survive one monster hunt, would you take it? Drop your answer below, and while you're there, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next hunt. A man who bore the scars of centuries, who trained generations, and who outlived nearly every brother he ever knew. His name was Vesemir, the first generation that looked like men. Long before Geralt, before the Northern Wars, before even the conjunction of the spheres was fully understood, the Witchers were an experiment. The mages of Risberg had brewed mutagens and forged children into monsters, meant to hunt monsters. Most died. Many became grotesque, feral things, hardly resembling men. But time refined the craft. By the time the fortress of Kaer Morhen rose as the Witcher's stronghold, the mutagens had been stabilized. The boys who survived the trial of the grasses emerged stronger, faster, their senses sharpened, yet still human in form. Cat-like eyes betrayed them, but no longer the twisted jaws and hunched backs of the first prototypes. Among that first true generation stood Vesemir, a boy taken, trained, and transformed. He survived what killed nearly all his peers, and he lived long enough to see himself called father by generations of witchers. A witcher's life in his prime. The young Vesemir was no different from the others at first. Trained to fight, taught to hunt, drilled in the art of signs, oils, and potions. He traveled the continent, sword in hand, to slay drowners, algols, grave hags, and worse. To peasants, he was monster and savior both. To kings, he was a tool. And to mages, he was proof that their terrible experiments had succeeded. Unlike Geralt or Lambert, Vesemir was never famed for rebellion or defiance. His strength was steadiness. Where others burned out or died young, he endured. Year after year, job after job, until his hair grew silver and his name was whispered in taverns far beyond Kedwin or Redania. The fall of Kaer Morhen, but even Vesemir's endurance was tested. In the winter of the Great Pogrom, fanatics stormed Kaer Morhen. Sorcerers stirred fear, claiming witchers were abominations unfit to live. Villagers, soldiers, and zealots burned their way through the keep. Most of the boys and instructors were slaughtered. The formulas for the mutagens, the very science that made witchers, were destroyed. The secret was lost forever. Vesemir survived. How? None can say with certainty. Some whisper he was away on contract. Others claim he fought and hid among the corpses until the slaughter ended. What mattered is that he returned to find ashes and silence. No more witcher children, no more experiments. Only the old and scarred remain. From that day, Vesemir became not just a witcher, but a relic, the last link to a golden age already fading into ruin. The father of the wolf school. When witchers speak of Vesemir, they do not speak of his hunts. They speak of his patience, his teaching. If Kaer Morhen was a ruin, he was the fire that kept its halls warm. He trained Eskel, Lambert, Geralt, and even more who died on the path. He drilled them in swordplay until their arms shook, taught them to brew potions until their lungs burned with fumes, and walked them into the mountains until their legs gave out. But he was no stern master alone. Vesemir was, in his own way, gentle. He told stories at night, of hunts long past, of monsters long dead. He made the grim life of a witcher survivable for boys who had no fathers. To Geralt, he was more than a mentor. He was family. The long years of decline. As the years passed, contracts grew fewer. The peasants who once feared monsters began to fear witchers more. Nobles who once paid for protection now scoffed at relics of a bygone age. Vesemir saw the slow death of his profession. He patched armor, he trained boys, but he could not change the tide. He lived through the rise of Nilfgaard, the fall of kings, the endless wars between North and South. He buried friends, brothers, and pupils, yet he endured. The wolves scattered, but every winter, a few still returned to Kaer Morhen. And every winter, Vesemir was there, cooking stew, sharpening blades, reminding them that though the world forgot them, they were not alone. The Wild Hunt and the end of all things in The Witcher 3. Wild Hunt, Vesemir stands again as Kaer Morhen's heart. When Ciri, child of destiny, returned pursued by spectral riders, it was Vesemir who counseled calm, who reminded Geralt that a witcher's duty was not just steel and alchemy, but care and wisdom. And when the Wild Hunt descended upon Kaer Morhen, Vesemir fought. Old, yes, slower than he once was, but still a witcher, still a wolf. He held the line beside Geralt, Eskel, Lambert, and Yennefer. His sword cut wraith and rider alike. But destiny is cruel. To break Ciri's spirit, the Hunt's general in Lareth seized Vesemir. In front of Geralt, in front of Yennefer, in front of Ciri herself, he was slain. Not in glory, not with honors, but as a tool to crush the will of a girl who was like a granddaughter to him. The last lesson, Vesemir's death broke Ciri's restraint. Her power, long held in check, erupted. The Wild Hunt's plans unraveled. His death, tragic as it was, saved the world. And so the last of the old wolves fell. With him died centuries of knowledge, of memory, of tradition. Yet in his death, he gave his family, his strange, scattered witcher sons and sorceress daughters, one final gift, the chance to fight on. Legacy. What then was Vesemir's legacy? Not fame, not wealth. He left no dynasty, no kingdom, no empire. What he left was harder to measure. He left Geralt, the White Wolf, tempered by his lessons. He left Eskel and Lambert, gruff and flawed, yet carrying forward his training. He left Ciri, who would remember the man who died to protect her. He left Kaer Morhen, battered and crumbling, but still standing, because he never abandoned it. Vesemir's tale is not of triumph, but endurance. The endurance to survive pogroms, prejudice, wars, and centuries. The endurance to be father to those who had none. The endurance to hold a dying order together with nothing but stubbornness and love. And in the end, that is what made him the last true wolf. Not his swords, not his signs, but his heart. Closing words, so raise your cups, wanderers, to Vesemir. To the old wolf who lived longer than any had a right to. To the mentor who made killers into brothers. To the man who, in dying, gave life to the world's last hope. His story is not written in ballads or sung in courts. It is written in scars, in the crackle of firewood at Kaer Morhen, and in the memories of every witcher who called him master. May we never forget him. May we never let his line fade into silence. If this tale by the fire stirred your interest, leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to join us for more Witcher lore and legends.